Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery anime gaming, posting, and shops. I'm smiling and laughing because I thought to myself, what if I said five? And I found that so amusing. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko. So today is cool, this episode. Tom and I have often been like, when are we going to take a show on the road? When are we going to do a live show? Yeah, when are we going to do the Bell House? You know, like the basic podcast stuff.
Yeah.
So we are actually doing an on-location episode right now, a little unplanned. So what happened to me, and this is a normal mistake for guys to do, is I did my taxes wrong. And I was under the impression that when you do your taxes wrong, they fine you, or like scary guys come and garnish your wages. Basically, I was under the impression that there would be like paperwork consequences. What happened is they shoved me in a crate and shipped me to an Antarctic research station.
This was not surprising to me, Joe, because I have basic financial literacy. I knew this since I was like 18. This is like, there was a little rhyme. Don't do your taxes and you'll go to Antarctica. I guess it wasn't really much of a rhyme. Maybe that's why it didn't catch on with you. They should have made it rhyme and it would have been a mnemonic. But what I don't understand, and I understand
why you got put in the crate.
Yes, exactly.
Like, yeah. So the issue is, so I got a kid now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one dependent.
Yeah. And
then I thought, who's another dependent? Who really depends on me? And it's like Tom. I'd say Tom depends on me.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I have an appeal in progress because this doesn't make any fucking sense. Because you don't give me any money for anything. Like maybe if we have like dinner together, you'll pay like half the time. That doesn't fucking
okay, but
count.
You depend on me for jokes and goofs.
Okay, that makes it. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're right.
So you should be here. Yeah. Okay. And obviously, I was not looking forward to our new life in the Antarctic research station because it's probably gonna be cold and it sucks.
Depressing.
But everyone working there like loves the show.
It's like
it's really refreshing.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing. They're like, "When are you gonna fucking do some game mechanics and stuff?" Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, they like the game mechanics rankings. They listen to those. They always listen to those episodes twice. It's great.
They've not heard the audio dramas though. They're going to get to it.
They're going to get to it. I know a couple. Steve, I think, is on Dr. Firewire of Sickos Act 2. He says he's going to get to it. I can't like ask. You know that it's just it's pestering if I ask. There is one guy who is the thing. He has listened.
This sucks because I would say the guy who is the thing is probably our like most enthusiastic guy.
Yeah. Also, no one believes us when we say he's the thing.
They think we're doing a joke.
No, he's the thing.
He's the and like the reason he's the thing. And we're broadcasting from the cafeteria because they were like, it's Spirit Week. You guys got to get in there.
Yeah.
So everyone, I cannot stress this enough. The reason that guy is the thing, it's because, remember when that dog that everyone loved went missing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it came in here and animorphed into that guy.
No, I didn't.
You know that makes you sound so guilty.
No, it doesn't. In fact, that's something the thing would say. Oh shit, Joe. Fuck, you're the thing? How long have you been the thing?
I'm not the thing.
Okay, well, we can deal with that later. I do want to say, though, before... I thought, personally, now the people are great, but I thought that I would be depressed on account of how chilly I'd be. I hate the cold. I live in Chicago, and I still hate all the winters. You know, lived here my whole life. I don't get used to it. I still hate it every time. So I thought Antarctica was going to be absolute bullshit. But the weather here is amazing.
It's like 65.
I went on a run outside earlier today. It was beautiful. It's that kind. You're not uncomfortable, but you never sweat. It was beautiful. There are a lot of scientists killing themselves, though. Not sure what that's about.
It's not weather related, though, because it's been great.
Yeah, honestly, if I had known they were feeling down, I would have told them
we could have gone for a jog.
Get some sun.
You need some sun.
It works. It makes a difference.
There's a lot of birds. I'm surprised.
Yeah. So that's our Antarctica show. Sir, do we have more?
Or do we have any fucking Patreons?
We do have one patron.
Thank you, Money Giver.
This is the third Rat Queen, Zelda. You know, we haven't even gotten the first and second Rat Queens. So this, I think you get like bumped up 2 slots by patronizing us, third Rat Queen, Zelda.
I know what a Rat Queen. Wait, Rat Queen. Actually, I know what a Rat King is. So I'm assuming a Rat Queen is like even bigger.
Yeah, and a girl.
Wow.
I feel like it can only be a good thing. Because, again,
a Rat King famously like a good sign.
Rat King never gave us no money dollars for making a podcast. And
that's true.
Rat Queen did. So that's that in the bag. Folks, how about a Cog Talk? Cog Talk. Cog Talk. Folks, Joe's got a bunch of horrible stories about his job, but he doesn't want to tell them because you might get in trouble.
It's not so much that they're horrible. It's just that it's like I have been through like layoffs, and I've also been through the layoffs that are like there are layoffs coming type layoffs. But all of that has been in a physical office. So you have like some sort of like humanity with like people as you like look around and wonder who's gonna get it. I'm going through something similar. I think I'm okay for now, but doing it when you're like just remote and like a little isolated atom is very funny.
Because what is the actual like fallout of someone getting laid off? Is that like their
please
Slack
stop
icon,
using your computer.
Their Slack icon's gone, and that home they're just like, you have to send us our computer back to us, and now you don't get money.
Please stop using the computer. Put it in a box and send it to us. Your health insurance is canceled.
I'm going to do this really quickly because I think I may have told this on the show before, but I had an old work laptop that I told work about. Like, hey, I still have this. Do you want it back? Do you want me to put it in the special box? And they said, no, simply destroy it and take a picture of it having been destroyed. And it was the most fun I ever had. Yeah, I recently was one of the sole survivors of a lot of layoffs. And I'm one of the last guys who do the job that I do. There used to be a team. Now it's like pretty much just me. And my manager is some guy who has no idea what I do or how it's done.
I have found myself in that professional situation in 2 different jobs, which is to say you get moved under another guy who just like, he's got other shit going on, you know? And he's just like, sure, man. But he's not going to like try to get rid of you because head count is king.
Yeah. And like he doesn't know if I'm doing a good job or not. To make if my job were turning a crank, our one-on-ones would be, hey Tom, you got anything to share? I'm like, well, the handle is a little sticky on the crank this week. And he's like, no, what is a handle? And I explained the handle to him, and he's like, so do you grab this with your hands or? And then like 2 hours later, I'll get a Slack. It's like, hey Tom, is this handle connected to anything? That's where I'm at. It's great. I hope I don't get fired because I need to pay for this fucking house that I moved to. What a dumb fucking move. I can't believe I did that. It's actually great. I can't believe it easily.
I will say a thing I sent Tom recently is like proof of like, am I alive? Like thing is, it was a support channel. Someone was like, hey, can someone help me with this? And I said, yes, I will look into this now. And then 4 minutes later, a different person was like, can I get a status update? and I said, I've been doing it for 4 minutes. And like most of the time when things like that happen, the actual root cause is just someone just not reading. Like you're just like, status update, whatever. It's fine. I understand. But like, I cannot interpret that as anything other than like, I don't know why you're not doing it faster. And I know that's not the actual intent, but like my brain is like, go faster. Like whatever's happening is wrong. It needs to be faster.
The only other explanation I could think of is like they've become addicted to like some sort of time crash scenario where like their mind
every minute
warps.
For them is a year.
Yes, exactly. And they've got chronoton poisoning, and thus, for them, they've been waiting for what you would call, in your foolish, simply 4-dimensional time stream. How ridiculous, how primitive. What you would call 100,000 years for them elapsed in the last 4 minutes.
I think what was so defeating about it is, like, I could not have done a single thing faster. Like, I got it. It was like when you pull off a flawless Tony Hawk combo. Just like, there's no room for improvement here. Like, all the inputs were correct. And it still was just like, pick it up.
Yeah. Incredible. There are more examples. They're not going to go into them. But my understanding of Joe's workplace is that he goes on the computer, the Torment Cube, and a bunch of beings inside the cube who don't understand what linear time is yell at him for not having chronoton poisoning.
Yeah, see, the issue is I get yelled at for stuff I haven't done as a future being. So it's like, future Joe has not completed this report yet. And I'm like, I don't even know how to talk to him yet.
So for the rest of the Cog Talk, I'm going to do something because, we don't want to get too into the specifics for Joe. And I really told you, my Cog thing lately has been the guy asking me what a handle is. And
that's fun, though, because he's so clearly... I'm not going to say this, but I'm so obviously trying to figure out what the fuck you do so I can tell another guy what you do without looking like an asshole. But I also don't want to just be like, hey, man, I don't know what's going on. You got to help me out.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that. One thing that is very funny is that he'll often ask me, like, questions about, like, is this being done on, like, a macro scale? Like, is everyone doing this?
Who's everyone?
And it's just Tom. Like, buddy, I cannot impress upon you hard enough that now and always I have only known what I'm doing. Even when we were a big team with people in Chicago, on the East and West Coasts, and overseas, even then, the only person who I could tell you about, like, is this checked regularly? Well, I know what I do. Who fucking knows what anyone else does? Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. What we're going to do is something that we've forgotten to do. We forgot we even set this up, and we've forgotten to pay it off for years with an S. We've forgotten about it so thoroughly that after we decided that we're going to do it this episode, before we started recording, Joe was like, what are we doing this episode?
Forgot. Yeah, it's like, we got a plan on this one?
We are going to read listener-submitted COG stories. How do I submit one? There's a form. We'll put the link in the show notes and on the tweet for this episode, so you can send us more so we can read them later. Joe, without further ado, I'm going to read the first one. This is from a homie by the name of Anson Rose. Thank you, Anson.
Thank you, Anson.
I will now read it verbatim. Quote, I work at the Bomb Factory.
Yeah, okay.
Technically not, but I work for the company that bought Raytheon in 2020, RTX Corporation. This is ridiculous because I didn't know...
I thought they were the top of the food chain.
Yeah, how can they be bought? And also, RTX is...
That's video cards.
Yes, that's what makes graphics.
Oh, that's why NVIDIA's worth so much now.
Yes, yeah. It's really funny how the real reason NVIDIA's worth so much is because of fucking AI hype. It's so sad. There's this guy on YouTube I watch sometimes, and he went to Davos to sort of like, here's what it actually is like. Like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories, but like, here's what it really is. Like, it really is just a bunch of the dumbest guys in the world trying to get rich quick, like, even though they're already rich. And like, the depressing thing is that like previous Davoses, the big hot thing was like, fucking this company found a better way to get sand. Or like these motherfuckers found lithium in the ground, like real things. And now like the only investment opportunities in Davos anyone cares about is some shit you look at on your phone. That's depressing. Anyway, RTX Corporation. Now, back to the story. Now, the same company that makes jet engines for Boeing owns the bomb factories. And over 1,000 of those engines were recalled last year. And I bet there's a lot more that should have been recalled that weren't.
No, they got them all.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, the airplanes are fine. Actually,
they said they were sorry. And also, that guy, don't worry about him.
Yeah. They did not hire Barry. Boeing does not hire Barry. I love Boeing. Boeing don't hire Barry on me. Okay, story continuing. I work in corporate cybersecurity. So my job is the guy in Netrunner who makes a spreadsheet of all the servers that don't have any ice. So the CEO can go, just play hedge fund 3 times. Why would we put ice in this deck? Ice don't give me any credits. They cost credits.
That's a really good example. I just want to say I was very impressed.
I mean, I always love a good Netrunner reference. CEOs do love playing hedge fund. That's a great card. Anyway, the most insane thing I've witnessed was the time my coworker got a phone call from a bomb factory 1,000 miles away. A guy was blaming us for the bomb-moving robot arm freezing and holding a missile over everyone's head. It sounded like they weren't enjoying it.
Oh, no.
They blamed us because if you look at any factory computer wrong, it'll totally shit itself for no reason. So they thought that we must have pinged the robot arm when we were making our spreadsheet. I don't know if they ever got the missile down, but that robot arm is still online.
Just a big bomb floating above your head as you do your warehouse job.
It's so funny how, like, it is true that all sort of computers that are used for, like, work that needs to happen every day are terrible and run on software from 20 years ago because to update them would mean stopping
them for a second. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and like I know that like the one everyone goes to is medical, the hospital, the doctor uses Windows 95, baby. But I just love that like there can be everyone at like Hell HQ can just be like, like we're a literal sword of Damocles is over our head today. I guess that's just how it happens.
No good.
No good. We want to do another one.
Yeah.
This one's from a homie named Will H. Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will. Give us your cog juice. I hated saying that.
Yeah, no, don't. No one give us your juice unless it's like. Unless we're literally talking about juice boxes.
No, just stop. No, not even then. Because it's just no.
Okay. What if they're handing out juice boxes for the last 2 in line and they don't have any? I'd like a sip.
You have zero survival instinct. You're going to wait in line for a stranger to give you a juice box.
I'm not saying a stranger. I'm saying teacher. Anyway. While working compliance and payroll for a manufacturing plant, a manager came into my office telling me to do something really smart that made a lot of sense. No, I just made that part up. Rewind, a manager came into my office telling me to call an Uber to the hospital and then immediately walked away. I don't use Uber, and I don't know which hospital which hospital to send it to. I followed him out, trying to ask him why, and learned that a worker had fainted. Not only did this happen on the other side of the building, a 5-minute walk, but the manager who came over was in charge of employee safety. I asked if we should call an ambulance, and he yelled at me for not helping.
Yeah. Okay, so getting an ambulance called is probably an important metric, whereas an Uber is a freebie.
Yep. Somebody else ended up driving the employee to the hospital. I later was reprimanded by our general manager for not listening to the manager, and he wouldn't hear me out when I tried to explain. Well, yeah, for the same reason. The manager was right for not wanting a paper trail of something dangerous happening at the factory.
You're not supposed to have to reset that it's been X days since accident sign. It should only go up.
Yeah, I mean, this is how it always goes, baby. Before I left that job, I told multiple bosses about how there was no plan of action for this situation. None of them ever responded to me or the problem. Well, yeah, why would they?
The thing is, like, ignoring stuff, like, I mean, it can work out.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. A lot of times in my job, something is like introduced, like this is a tool you can use, or this is a tracking system, or this, that. And what I do is I listen as this is being explained for any sort of verbiage that indicates requirement or mandatory. If I don't hear that shit, I do not ever think about whatever that thing is. And I am strictly under the impression that Native Resolution had in Sicko Shock 2, which is if it's a big deal, someone will tell me about it. I'll get like, how come you're not using Bonum? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, was I supposed to? I'll get on that right away. Joe, you'll never believe how infrequently anyone ever calls me out on any of these things. Never. It's hilarious. Let's see if we got another good one. Okay, this one's good. This one's long as hell. This may be the last one we can get to. This is from a sicko engineer. So I experienced an unabashedly terrible hellscape at an electric vehicle company, not the one owned by redacted emerald mine billionaire.
So the one I own.
Yes.
I'm doing a shitty job, too.
To preface this, before I started this company, I was primed with the expectations of the person that would ultimately be my boss, that I did not need to be an expert at the tasks I would be doing, and that this role was intended to be a growth and learning opportunity. Well, there's your first mistake, you motherfucker. What are you thinking? You believed that?
Think about learning and growth. It's never happened, ever. It's like swamp gas, because it's just like a thing you say to paper over the real truth.
Yeah, like it's never actually been swamp gas. It's never been a weather balloon.
It's always been an alien.
Yeah, you still hear it. Well, back to the story. It sure was a fucking learning experience. So this person who would become my boss was one of the people who directly convinced me to quit an otherwise all right but unexciting job to come work for a redacted electric vehicle company. First and foremost, before even arriving, I had told multiple people, multiple times, that my work laptop should be mailed to my current home. But they sent it to the absolutely wrong address and didn't inform me until like 2 weeks later, after it had already arrived, that they had shipped it. And it was obviously fucking gone by then. But all right. So week one was like what you would almost expect from your first week in a new company. A bit of touring around the facilities and meeting some people. But the first red flag hit was absolutely no official onboarding or establishing what doing the role successfully would look like. And not being brought up to speed with what the company was working on at large. I asked multiple times, expecting the usual HR, corporate, PowerPoint, and, access to the engineering software I'd ultimately be using to perform work, but there was just nothing. I was, quote, just a contractor, and, quote, didn't need those things. All this sounds like it's making perfect sense to me.
You're just a contractor, so we just need to take you around, like when the zoo takes the penguins around, it's like, isn't this fun for them? Yeah. Aren't they enriched?
If the penguin was like, can you give me a overall look of what this zoo's 5-year plan is, and what did that enclosure I just saw, what was that about, what was the purpose of that? They would never answer the penguins. I'm sorry this happened to you, sicko engineer, but I'm not surprised yet. But maybe it gets worse. It was also at this time that my boss laid the ultimate trap. An 8 a.m. meeting every morning. Okay. At this point, I would be like, bye-bye then. I quit here. No. 8 a.m. every morning. Holy shit. It was originally...
And I'm guessing this isn't a stand-up part of a larger thing. This is just hanging out.
It was originally spun as, quote, let's put this on our calendars so no one else bothers us during this time, and we can occasionally use it to check in. Oh, God. This is a Geordie line from Modesty City, when, it's a smarmy, slimy boss line that, the actual words that are being said are, not so bad, but, But
they're poison, actually. They're literal venom.
Yes, you are going to start taking DOT ticks immediately as soon as they're said. I was back to the story. I was this is kind of funky, but okay, startup culture's a little different. I'll just roll with it. So far, it's a little off nominally, but that feeling of being a nice, shiny new cog in a new machine feels kind of good when you get that fresh layer of grease.
It does, though. your first few days at a new job, no matter what it is, you're capable of telling yourself that this will fix everything.
Because you have no frame of reference yet, and nobody is going to say, like, so, one thing you got to know is that this shit fucking sucks. And also, everyone's going to be so frustrating to talk to.
And this is also key. You haven't done real work yet.
Yes. Week 2 rolls around, and we fly halfway across the country to go visit the plant and do inspections, see the plant floor, validate some parts. Very important note. This flight was on a fancy charter plane the company only used for its employees and was egregiously expensive. Upon arriving, I'm informed for the first day we'll just be in one of those conference rooms working on specifications. I think, okay, first day, just got done flying. We'll take it easy. We'll rack out this bit of paperwork we discussed in passing last week, and then it's on to the shop floor. So, then, I spent the rest of my week, quote, visiting the factory, in the conference room, writing stuff on my computer that I absolutely 10,000% could have done literally anywhere. I did not see literally any part of the factory floor and did not meet anyone adjacent to my team that I might work with on the entire week that I'm there.
I'm laughing because of like the torturous element. Not like it's funny. It is funny, but like this is a Hellraiser thing, right?
This reminds me of nothing so much as Tom McHenry's office building new cabinetry in front of the heating and cooling vents. And then when people complain, I'm cold, they say, well, I assure you that we're wasting a lot of resources and money blasting the heat at full capacity. So shut the fuck up. Even though like the only thing that was happening is that their filing cabinets
compressed plywood was getting
yes. I love this. Okay. All that he was tasked with was writing the specifications. Now these specifications,
which he couldn't see, right? Like just so we're clear, like you write specifications. Can I see the parts? No.
These specifications are, quote, very important documents. And like I mentioned before, I'm not an expert at the thing that I was tasked to do, but I knew enough to not be totally coming from nothing, and at least enough to draft this up and have my boss give me some direction or feedback to get them over the finish line. So I spent the whole week, quote, at the factory writing these up. And I shit you not, daily, I would bring up information from like the 4 to 6 different, very large, very expansive code books that I absolutely was not allowed to reference in our specifications that needed to be summed up in these documents and would always get a different answer for direction. One day it was, let's pick the most stringent. Next, it's for the guys on the line. The day after, well, manufacturing will push back on that, even though it's the most stringent, like I asked. And so forth. And the goalposts moved daily. And after a few days of getting mixed feedback, I decided to just move forward and start trying to add red lines and changes. All of which got no feedback.
Can I interject here with the observation of a movie you said once that stuck with me, and it's absolutely what this is. I watched Barton Fink, and the way you described the film producer is you said, he's a different guy every time.
Yes.
And that is very much what I feel is happening here.
Yeah, like the scenes with the film producer are like legitimately very scary because at first he's like, really, I love you, Barton Fink. I'm like, honestly, what I'm about is nurturing artists like you, and we're going to do anything it takes to make sure you are able to put out your best work, because that's really what I care about, is that you made your best work. And then like the next time he visits, he's like evil. And he's like, but you were so nice before. And he's like, no, I wasn't. Like, that was like, it's a different guy. Like, he may be in the same meet that you were sitting in front of before, but like, this is a different guy. Like, all that shit didn't happen before. That happened to a guy who died. Like, this is a new guy. It's so
also
scary.
He can't read. It's so funny too when he reads the final script, which he can't read. I had Lou read it to me, which is just so fun. Like, a guy reading you an entire screenplay.
Yeah, that's life, baby. Okay.
So he's getting Barton Finked, is what I'm saying.
Yes, it's true. All of the shit that he was doing got no feedback except for the one section that I changed a page and a half of dead text into an easily readable table I was immediately scorned for changing. So needless to say, this is going poorly, and I was increasingly frustrated that I was flown halfway across the country to see the factory, only to be stuck in a conference room. So daily, I was asking, when do we go out and do the stuff we talked about last week before we got here? To which my boss said, and I quote, "You are being too demanding for wanting to see the factory," while I was flown halfway across the country to see the factory. I ultimately didn't see shit, meet anyone, or even make any tangible progress on the specifications that I was solely
Am I being
working
kidnapped? You're being too demanding.
He made no progress on the specifications that I was solely working on because the daily changes to who it was for and how it should be written left me asking for feedback roughly the entire day. At this point, moving into week 3, I'd be pretty thoroughly dicked around for these specs that I have offered multiple times to stay late and work extra hard on it if I could just get some feedback on the stuff I had done thus far, which never happened. And I basically get no information or any idea of what is going on at any level of my work or the company at large by the end of my 3rd week at the place. So week 4 begins. Monday rolls around and my boss asks, what if instead of making the specs, we just document all of the discrepancies in favor of manufacturing? Basically, what if instead of doing the thing that's very important and fixing an existing problem, we instead loaded our gun to start shooting each other? Oh my god.
Was the gun idea a big hit?
I think so. Oh, well, who knows? There's a glimmer of hope at the end of this dark tunnel. Monday evening, my boss agrees to meet during our 8 a.m. scheduled meeting that we had never used prior to this point, as we would just see each other at the office. Now, this actually is wild because I would have sworn that they would do the 8 a.m. meeting every day. So maybe there is some hope here. Okay, we're going to meet at their 8 a.m. meeting the next day to discuss the feedback that I had been asking for. Oh, and this hope is immediately torched like a suburban high school dumpster. My 8 a.m. meeting gets moved to 4 p.m. the day after we agreed we would touch base in the morning to finally get the feedback. Then, with the memory of the goldfish, my boss asked me 2 hours later, how feasible is it to have the specification and this other one you've barely touched ready for review on Friday?
This is the Barton Fink thing. It's a different guy.
Yes. I'm like getting like sick in my stomach, just like... You have to realize that at this point you're not actually getting asked to do work like by a colleague. It's like, so we're not sure what we're going to read out before we hang you. So we're just testing out a number of crimes.
If I was in this position, I would uselessly be trying to determine, like, is this intentional fucking with me or is there just like pure chaos in this person?
No fucking difference, dude. Not negligible difference. Okay. I give a reasonable response of, if you can give me detailed feedback and notes by Wednesday, I will basically stay up all night Thursday and Friday to do both of those things. Their response, let's actually work towards Thursday. I'm taking Friday off. The rest of the week was mostly unexciting, aside from moving the 8 a.m. meeting every morning right before we were supposed to have it and then canceling it around lunchtime. When I asked about this, I was told, you're just a contractor. I am very important, and I have to take very important calls with the very important C-suite and exec types. But it was otherwise a consistent runaround of things not getting done, as I basically gathered information that needed a final approval for the addition to this spec. I love Kevin and I talked about this about our old Evanston job, but I love when, in order for anything to happen, you need to get approval from someone when you were too low to actually like make any, like, I can think about how much I'm going to turn the crank. I can like visualize the motions I'm going to do, but like I have to ask, like, can I turn the crank please? Because in that situation, as here, inevitably the person who says yes or no is like not a sub.
Tell me more about this crank. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, don't worry about what the crank is and isn't. Can I turn it? And it'll be like, I can't answer that right now because of I'm making some bullshit up.
Bye. If I can just chime in here, the meeting moving of stuff that's supposed to be like with someone you need an update from, has happened to me in the context of like, am I getting laid off? And these meetings keep getting moved. It's just like, what, am I alive? Like, it's just, it's the axe.
Yeah. It's like, okay, like, did I become fucking Slaughterhouse 5'd? Am I unstuck in time? Like, is this, no, don't take this the wrong way. I just literally don't know. Is this hell? Are you the devil? Like, you could be. If you were, you'd be doing a really good job. Anyway.
Can we go back his story for a second? It's very funny, to be like, I'm actually a very important person and you're a contractor. And it's like, you put him on the plane, man.
Yes.
You flew him out on essentially a private jet. That's what a charter jet is. You just don't own it. Yeah. But like, you really send in mixed messages as far as importance.
It's very because it's easy to say like, well, it's not your money getting wasted, so who cares? But when you are like a person for whom wealth is distant, it does hurt, like emotionally and a little bit physically, to just like see an idiot, see a person of much lower brain quality than you just sort of like light a pile of money on fire. And if you ask like, why did you do that? They look at you and say, do what?
Yeah, because I have it and it's mine.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Anyway, so Tuesday rolls around when I was told that as a contractor, I cannot be at any of the work offices unless my boss is there. And I was told this because she wanted to leave at 2:30 p.m. and had done so many times prior. No issues with me staying. Like, literally, not even for a minute past their time am I allowed to stay. Something that was never explained to me during any step of the non-existing onboarding or contract negotiation. At this point, I'm very confused, exceptionally flustered, and have no clue whether or not I'm allowed to go to the office as I was doing that normally for the weeks prior. You know, the weeks when I wasn't getting flown to nowhere to do nothing. So I ask, should I come in tomorrow at the end of the day or work remotely? To which I get no reply. So in the morning, I just woke up and said, I'll be working remotely. To which the boss's immediate response was, I said yesterday we would be working on site. I have receipts for this whole shit show. She never responded. So Tuesday's a big old shit fest, but I at least knew I was supposed to be at work Wednesday, 9, the next morning. So like a reasonable human being who lives 30 minutes from work on a good day, I planned and communicated in person to them that we would not do our 8 a.m. meeting, that we quite literally used maybe one time as normally scheduled, since we'd be meeting at 9 a.m. on site. To which I get a message at 8 a.m., are you joining the meeting? I hopped on the meeting, asking if she had reviewed any of the specs I had sent her, and she said no. I told her I would be on site at 9 as planned, and we would keep working on the next set of things to do. We touched base in the morning in person, and I saw her right after lunch, so she was there on site when this next bit happened. Then an hour or two after lunch, she told me to reach out to Dalton, not my actual name, my brother's boss, with no further instructions. So I reached out to Dalton. And as I messaged him, my contracting company called me to let me know I was fired. Dalton came by. I made no fuss as I had already heard the news, and had basically accepted. I mean, he had me turn over my computer and led me out of the building. So after 3.5 weeks of basically unabashed hellscape of redacted electric vehicle company, my boss didn't even have the decency to fire me herself. She went and had someone else's boss do it. This is kind of a play-by-play, and there are definitely some details left out. But, like, this is just the gist of being in the most toxic work environment I've ever experienced. I've literally worked in a radioactive nuclear reactor containment building.
Whoo! The issue here is it's cars. You understand? If it was building, electric, anything else, everyone would have been normal and nice.
Mm-hmm. But they would have cared about things actually functioning correctly.
Yeah, but it's the sin of car.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you for sharing that. That was, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm sorry you experienced that. It seems like a test from the devil.
Yeah.
And also, like, the best case scenario is you get a job there.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Like, when I had a similar situation where, like, yeah, again, I need confirmation and approval for anything I want to do ever, and the person who's in charge of giving it to me is an idiot who, again, is a different person every time you speak to them and doesn't understand the basic core concepts and does not remember stuff, does not remember events that occurred in life. When that happened to me, the thing that was being made or not was blog posts for clients who inevitably would go, wait a minute, I'm paying for what? And then cancel. And they did. This is like, oh.
So your job was like way better and more important to the GDP.
Well, my job, at least, I felt like I was in hell, but I didn't feel like the world, like something's wrong. Like this isn't good.
I can't handle when there's such obvious conflict between like you're telling me to be here. Also, you clearly don't want me to be here. Like, I just kill me with a gun instead.
Yeah. It's like, do you understand that, like, as my job, like, this is like a lot of, like, it's honestly a huge proportion of my life. Like, it's not like the timer's going down now. The game's not paused. Like, this is, like, for me, this is it. Like,
and this chunk of This Is It is explicitly an environment where I have no idea if people hate me or not, or why.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's so disrespectful to, again, like, this is most of my life. Like, can we, like, talk? Can like, I be on Earth? Like, please. I hate this. Oh, my God. Thank you, Sicko Engineer, for that horrible story. And I hope you have a better job now.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
So after 30 days, after Tom has moved into his home, I finally was able to get over there. Largely in part because I have a kid, and also we only have one car, and this is not a CTA-friendly route, although it's not terribly far away. So Tom and I were like, how do we... See, the thing is, we had the opportunity to do the Detroiters thing, where he could have lived in a townhouse literally next to me, but he instead picked a much nicer place.
That was not from, like, 1985.
Correct. So Tom suggested that, like, don't buy a car, just get a Vespa.
I think this is a great idea. It's fun.
You're
living little shittily. It's in theme.
There are Vespa. There's a few Vespa havers.
No way, really?
Yes. Like I said, the thing that makes the neighborhood fun is that a few people, not many, are doing the bit. The other thing that I laugh about it is because there's all those hospitals right there, and there's medical students. There's just always, like, Indian guys blasting cigs after they just got done with, like, the worst shift of their life, and it's just like, literally, baby, I love it.
Love it. So get a Vespa. What's the problem?
The problem with the Vespa is that anyone who drop kicks you gets the Vespa.
They win. Like, game over. There's no next step.
The minute you come to a stoplight, and, like, I am not a person that wants to do crimes, but, like, literally every time I've seen someone on a Vespa at a stoplight, I have the thought. I was like, dude, you just get a run and start. You're gonna try to hit him in the center of mass, and then, you know, it's your free Vespa. It's like the same way when you see a cop's gun and you're like, oh, I better get that.
Yeah, it's when you look at it, the outline glows and a word appears above.
Press E to interact,
and it shows you whether it has more or less attack than your current equipped weapon. It's like, folks, have you ever been walking and someone's, like, walking the opposite direction, or maybe you're in an airport and you're trying to navigate the crowd, and you can kind of, like, without it being too much of an imposition, you can sort of, like, nudge someone else so that you can be standing in a place and they're standing in somewhere else. All that taking a Vespa is
that you just
it's boop, do. All it means is, like, now you stand a little bit this way and I stand here, and, like, now it's my Vespa. Like, I'm seeing the logo of the currently playing radio station fade in as soon as I step on that. Like, it's mine now.
An 80-year-old woman can use Peach's Ford B to take it from me. And she'd be right to. I don't want another vehicle. Cars are expensive and stupid. There's all that talk about getting not all that talk, but there is talk of getting a BRT, a bus rapid transit route on Western, which that would fucking kick ass. It'll never happen.
One, it'll never happen. Two, I like drive on Western more than I'd like now because I'm closer to there. And if getting places, you kind of have to go on Western a lot of the time. I still think that even if there was a bus rapid transit lane on Western, it still would go slow as fuck because Western is just a series of the worst intersections on Earth, like one after the other. Like, there's no intersection that is designed to allow the traffic that it bears to go through it at a reasonable rate. Like, it just won't happen.
Well, in theory, if you're doing the BRT right, it is moved in such a way that it's prioritized in the traffic lights. But will that ever happen? Yeah. There was like a plan, I think, in like I don't know if it was the late 90s or early 2000s about doing the BRT on Ashland, which they did a study for it, and they were like, this would kick ass.
And all right. Like, one homeowner was like, I don't like it because I think that the Jews would go on that bus. I say the Jews, but they actually would say was probably a much worse word for a different race.
Right, yeah. And, yeah. So I guess I need a bike, but I will get hit immediately and my bones will turn to dust, which will be a bummer.
You could get an e-bike. I hear those are good. Kevin's got an e-bike. He speaks very well of the e-bike.
He's also like he's a skilled bike rider in general, to the point where, like, when he gets almost hit by a car, he is polite at them to make them more pissed. Like, I am not there at all. The issue with an e-bike as like sort of a returning to biking choice is, if you want to start biking again, you get a shitty bike that's however many dollars. That's one thing, but an e-bike is like a MacBook. I'm stupid. Someone's gonna just drop kick me there and take that as well.
You also have to think about, like, would you leave your MacBook outside secured to a little lock that somebody could go to Home Depot and get a $2 clipper?
This is literally how, because I live near the West Loop, where there's a lot of asshole money and there's a lot of just disgusting sports cars. And the thing with all those sports cars, it's the same. I have the same thought, which is like, even if I liked it and wanted a car, I wouldn't be able to handle the idea of just like leaving something with that much of a price tag to get hit by shopping carts.
Yeah. And like, isn't the whole thing that like the catalytic converters are just like free money that you can take? Like, you're allowed.
Some Hyundais, I think, are also free. Like, you just have to touch them and then they bond to you.
The day that they released the list of Hyundais that are, again, community property, and the Ioniq was not on it, was like one of the best days of my life. I was like, fucking thank God. Of course, there is, in fact, there's still the threat of, like, the Kia boys might not have had that list memorized, and so they might,
and they just knew that, like, a Hyundai is like a safe bet to just start hacking at.
Yeah. Luckily, that hasn't happened to me. Although I am biking now more because I live right by the 606, which, like, for anything that's near the 606, which is like a pretty significant amount of shit. Like, the stuff that is, within 2-3 blocks of the 606, it's not everything, but like, it's not nothing. There's a lot of good stuff that I can get to on my bike extremely quickly, very easily. On the 606, there are no cars. You are the car. For example, we just met up with fucking homie, Worst of All Possible Worlds podcast host Josh Borman. We went to Pequod's. I rode my bike there. It took me 15 minutes. Incredible.
We got deep dish. We were Chicago basic. The cool thing about visiting Chicago people is you got to make them eat deep dish, even if they don't like feel it. But the truth is, like, Pequod's is good. Like, it is good.
It's good.
it's
People
good.
Will tell you, like, Chicagoans actually people love fucking doing this. This is not like a dumb guy thing. Like, I'm trying to get the juice for an episode of like my favorite dumb guy sayings. Like, if someone says this, they're basically saying to you, like, I'm a low quality person with a weak brain. This is not exactly a dumb guy thing, but it's on its way there, which is the people who, anytime pizza in Chicago are said, stumble over. They immediately like run into a sprint, stumbling over themselves to be the first one to say, actually, the real Chicago style pizza is thin crust tavern style from Vito and Nick's, and then they fucking fall over dead. Their life having finally been given meaning for talking about tavern style. Here's the thing, folks. Everyone loves deep dish is great.
It's like it's a big pizza quiche. Like, people are like, it's not actually pizza. That's fine. I'm willing to concede it's not, but it's
good.
It's a fucked up pot pie. Okay, it's good.
I was so heartened that Josh was like ready to meet, as a New Yorker, he was ready to meet Deep Dish where it was and not be a sneering asshole. I always go to the awful viral Jon Stewart rant about Deep Dish, which in my opinion, is one of the worst pieces of comedy in the world. It is childish rant that sucks big ass. And the line, the big like slam line that gets the ohs is, it's not even a pizza, it's a casserole. Okay, if that's true, I'm so excited that Chicago has a delicious signature casserole I can enjoy. Like, what's the fucking problem, asshole? Here's the thing, though.
It's a bread bowl. It's a fucked up bread bowl. It doesn't matter. I'll eat it. It's fine.
It's good. Here's the move. I didn't know this. So I read this on Our Chicago Food, the one good subreddit. If you're in Chicago, I imagine if you're not in Chicago, it's not very good. That the move at Pequod's is to order light dough. This intrigued me because last time I went to Pequod's, I noticed that obviously the crust is delicious, the cheese is great, the sauce is good, but the bottom crust, like the bottom, was way too thick. The ratios were all wrong. All the bites that did not have the edge, the delicious signature edge, were just overpowered by the dough on the bottom, which was didn't have enough flavor to stand up to being, 70% of the bite. And I was like, this sucks. Like, most of these bites are just fine. Then the crust is delicious. Like, the edge crust is delicious. But, like, I'm too much of my tummy is being filled up with just fine. I hate this. And so I didn't know if this was real or if someone was pranking me on the internet. Because, like, how mortifying would that be to be like, I would like to order a pizza with light dough, and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm confused. Can you show me on the menu what you mean? And I go,
I read it online. I read it on this is HTTP.
Yeah. Fortunately, though, the waitress is like, oh yeah, people ask for that all the time. That's no problem. And it came out, and the bottom crust was half the size it usually is, and whoa, the ratio that does it.
Why
the
is it a
ratios are
hidden
good.
option? Because it is like very. Oh, I don't want to say it. It just seems like the preferable version.
It's like the right way.
Yeah.
And why is that not the default? Like,
why is it a secret menu item? Hey, can you make this? And I got this tip. Can you not fuck it up?
Yeah, it's like another. I have a crazy off-menu ask. If you can do it, that's fine. If you can't, I understand. Can you put the pizza in some sort of superheated chamber until like the cheese melts and the dough cooks like that? For me, that's the best.
We got a picture of Blue Moon. And they're like, we don't have any oranges, which is so funny because it's like 90% of it. And we were like, who fucking cares? Give us. Yeah, I don't want to drink anything else. Just fine.
Yeah. It was great. It was so fun.
But the important thing, obviously, it's great to meet up with people we've done episodes with and talk about us, their work and everything. But the most important thing is that Josh said something very important to us, and it was, when you guys were ranking game mechanics, junctioning GFs was so fucking funny. And he's right. Yeah. He's right. Yeah. He's correct. Yeah. That is you need to fly into Chicago. You tell us that junctioning GFs is just, we really killed it.
And man, it's just, that is truly the podcaster's delight, when there's something that you can just describe with no embellishment, just very literally and dryly talk through the facts, and it's the funniest shit in the universe. It's like, well, GFs are large spiritual beings that live in your brain, and they are in your brain because they give you amnesia, because the space that they're in would normally be from memories. Anyway, while they're in there, you have to junction spells to stats. And, it's so good. Junction. That really felt good, because sometimes it feels like the tier list for game mechanics is, people don't love it, but Josh
no,
loved
they
it,
do.
so
I'm
you
getting
get
all
more.
the calls.
Yeah, you're getting more, folks. Obviously, you might be thinking, Well, Tom and Joe, when Josh was in town, did you take the opportunity to like record something, get a session down on wax? You know, have
the answer is yes, obviously.
Yeah, it was great. It's one of the best things you've ever done. It was so funny.
Oh yeah, but then the issue is the cops took it from us. They took the episode. They were like, "This is too good. This is gonna change the zeitgeist."
This is the entertainment from Infinite Jest. We're the cops that have read Infinite Jest. There are not many of us. But anytime someone makes the entertainment, they call us, because otherwise the cops that you get are going to be like, you made a video, and it's like, it's not a video, it's a podcast. Like, you made a video, and they're going to just get so frustrated that they can't intellectually grasp what this is that they shoot you to death. Yeah. And that's going to make the entertainment even more appealing, because it's like, ooh, dead creator. I got to check this out.
The person who made this died.
Yeah. It'll be like after the guy got shot by the police while he was holding a sword, everyone wanted to read his post about "I will never die" by getting shot by the police while I'm holding a sword.
I really had a hard time parsing that as just like, on one hand, like, this guy is like there was a poster who, this is the facts. He was killed by the police because he was wielding a knife. The other fact is that he had like many posts over the years that were all about like not getting shot by the cops with a knife, like it was just, or a sword. You said a sword a lot, but it was just like one of those things where it's like, it is funny, but like the act of like trying to like talk about it makes me seem macabre and insane. But like, I don't know what else to say.
He had one that was something to the effect of like, here's my impression of being white, mimes not getting shot by the cops. Which,
that
like,
one didn't work out.
It didn't work out. As a joke on its own, that's a little too cruel and mean and sort of revels in white privilege in a way that's not fun. It punches down, as they say. But
then the opposite happened, so that's kind of good.
And so it's like, oh, it was the... you know what it is? It's, he ate a banana and he says, "I don't care about littering," and throws it in front of him.
Yes.
And, you can guess what happens next. Jesus Christ. Are we done? This has been about an hour.
We're good, yeah.
Yeah. Great episode. Slam dunk. We're on fire.
This is a great, we had a good time at the Arctic Research Station. We're going to make friendship bracelets with all the other guys.
Yeah, speaking of, where is everybody? Oh, there's the... Okay, I see the guy who's the thing, covered in blood. Okay, I get it.
Oh, man. There's another situation where we're right, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I have to imagine... He's... Okay, I was going to see if he would come over and talk to us, but he's on his... I can see he's got his big, like, extra limbs with
that guy can
knives
climb
on him. Yeah,
look at him go.
He's busy. I have to imagine he won't kill us, because he is a fan. And he asked me if I was going to write a sequel to Sickos Track 2, and I said I didn't think so. And he really encouraged me to try. So it wouldn't scan that he would then kill me.
Unless he was being a dick.
Well, he is the thing. Anyway, that's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I'm Joe, an Anime Sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.